Welcome to another episode of the Dope Student Podcast.
Hey, Dope Students, get ready to watch another episode of the Dope Student Podcast. My name's Ania, and here are my amazing co-hosts,
Jemiah.
Noah. Welcome to the Dope Student Podcast. Today we are honored to host the legendary Hilderbrand Pelzer III, an educator, leader, and true change agent with over 3 decades of experience in public education. Mr. Pelzer has transformed countless lives and redefined what it means to be a leader in urban education. From his time as a principal who elevated one of the largest jail systems through education to receiving prestigious accolades like the Queen Smith Award for the commitment to urban education, the Living Legend, and the Lineback Award for distinguished principal leadership. Mr. Pelzer's impact is unmatched. A native of Philadelphia with a passion for mentorship and meaningful change. Mr. Pelzer is here to share his journey, insights, and wisdom. So grab a notebook because the diamonds are about to drop. Let's dive in.
looking back at your time with Principal Cage at Simon Gratz, what lessons or experiences have stayed with you the most?
Wow, that's a great question. Mr. Cage. Mr. Cage was a very important person in my life. What a lot of people don't know is Mr. Cage was a teacher at Martin Luther King High School when I was a student. So I knew Mr. Cage from the time I was 14, 15 years old. But over the years, Mr. Cage and I are also in several organizations together. But he was the first person that introduced me to leadership, school administration. I became his assistant principal at Simon Gratz High School before I became the principal of Simon Gratz High School. And to your question, 2 things that stand out that has carried me through from Mr. Cage's exposure is confidence and communication. Confidence and communication. Confidence in your ability to lead and to make decisions and to stand on values, and communication to have a vision and be able to engage people in the direction you want to move in. Confidence and communication. That is Mr. Cage. He means a great deal. I could say a whole lot about him. He's like a strong mentor. And I will say Mr. Cage has passed away since, but I still stay in touch with his family, his sons, and anything I can do for them, I do my best to be a part of that. There you go. Miss Cage, Miss Carlotta Cage. Yep.
How did your upbringing in Philadelphia shape your values and your desire to excel in education?
Well, actually, my interest was not in education. Although my late father, was a retired counselor, and my mother is a retired high school principal, I wanted to be engaged and involved in sports. I wanted to be either a basketball coach or athletic director or general manager for a professional sports team. And so education wasn't something that I thought about until I got a job at a juvenile prison. And in that prison, there were hundreds of boys who were incarcerated and who could not read, write, count, tell time, spell their names, didn't know their date of birth. And in fact, while that was depressing to me, it inspired me. It inspired me to want to get involved in education. And it was those young people that really tugged on my heart and shifted my direction into education. And I haven't looked back since.
What inspired you to pursue a career in education, and how did your early days as an educator prepare you for your leadership role?
So I've served as a teacher, an assistant principal, and a principal. I've also served as an assistant regional superintendent for alternative education and an assistant superintendent for high schools, and now my current role is associate superintendent. And so what has helped me, the through line, has been schools, understanding the value of schools and how they impact young people like yourselves. So working with principals and working with teachers and working with counselors in schools has always pushed me to want to lead and do the best that I can to help others. And that's the type of legacy I hope I can leave, that the roles that I've had, the decisions I've been able to make have impacted the lives of young people.
You've had a significant impact on urban education. What are the biggest challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
In urban education, great question. There are a lot of challenges in urban education. I think for me, the most challenging situation that I faced is working with adults to ensure that they care for kids, making certain that any adult, like your teacher here, your principal, counselors like Ms. Nemick and others here at your school, are the right people in front of young people. And so the biggest challenge is always to make certain that students are centered first in every decision that I make. And sometimes that can be a challenge because we all have different values and commitments to this role. And so trying to move those barriers has been maybe a challenge over the years, but I think we've accomplished a lot to have great people like your teacher and others in front of you.
In 2008, you received the Queen Smith Award for commitment to urban education. What did that recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
So I received that award, which was a national award. Had a chance to receive that award in Houston, Texas in 2008, as you indicated. But that award recognized my work inside of the Philadelphia prison system. The Philadelphia prison system or at the time, was the 5th largest urban county jail system in the United States of America, with over 9,100 inmates. And my work inside of that facility was with adults and young people. And while anything dealing with incarceration can be devastating, I think every day I went into that facility wanting to bring life and hope to people. And so I was recognized for the academic work that we did inside of that facility.
Transforming the education system within a correctional facility is no easy task. Can you share how you approached this challenge and the impact it had?
I go back to my first answer or previous answer, making certain that the right adults are in there, right? Making certain that the adults that are in there working with young people care about them despite the reasons they were incarcerated. And so doing that type of work, looking at the people, assigning adults, making certain they had great instructional knowledge, making certain that they cared about kids who had some challenges, and putting them in front of them and giving those adults feedback was the most important thing.
How do you inspire and support educators who face the daily challenges of teaching in urban schools?
Coaching and encouraging. I always encourage and I always coach. So as you just indicated, your questions about challenges in urban education, in order to keep great adults in front of students, you have to encourage them, inspire them, but coach them on what they don't know and what they need to know so that they get better.
What advice would you give to educators looking to become agents of change in their communities?
I spoke to some aspiring leaders the other day who were teachers, and I think I left them with their why. Know why you want to get into this work. Know why you want to get into teaching. Know why you want to work with young people. And if people have a why, then they have purpose. And then that why and that purpose drives their ability to learn, continue to learn, and do well.
You've been recognized with numerous awards for your leadership. What qualities do you believe are essential for a great leader in education?
Listening. It's a lot of qualities that a leader should have and needs to be successful, but listening is one of them. Listening to the people around you, listening to young people, listening to parents, just listening and have a listening ear that allows you to deliberate on decisions you want to make going forward.
How do you see the future of education in urban settings, and what steps can we take to improve outcomes for students?
I see a great, bright future. I see a great, bright future because of the new teachers that are coming in, the new principals that are coming in, the new folks. I just met upstairs some young new counselors that you have here at your school. And just to know that the educational space is being filled with individuals who want to do well, who want to do right by young people, just makes this inspiring. And I just believe that along the way, it's only going to be better for education.
Mentorship has been a cornerstone of your career. Can you share a story about a mentee whose success has inspired you?
Yeah, I'll tell you about Kareem. Kareem was a student of mine inside of the Philadelphia prison system, House of Correction, to be exact, who was a young man who did not like education, who was very disrespectful during his time, but was someone who listened and someone who had a commitment to do better. He eventually had to do 15 years in prison, but he always remembered our mentorship, our conversations, and when he came out, he reconnected with me, and he has been able to be a powerhouse in youth development, juvenile justice, criminal justice, and reentry. And he's just one example of a principal or that adult that I'm talking about in front of a young person who stands on values, and that although back then it didn't seem like he received it, he received it. And now, years later, he is doing so well.
For students listening, what is one piece of advice you'd give them to help them achieve their goals and thrive in any environment?
Listen to your teacher. Listen to your teacher, listen to your parents. Always want to learn. Always learn, listen, and make certain that the adults in front of you are pouring into you those things that you need to thrive.
Thank you, Pelzer, for sharing your story today. To our listeners that are listening today, we hope any of this information that was shared with us today impact on your future. And that's it for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Dope Student Podcast. Stay curious and stay dope, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye.